Hello, my War Thunder enthusiasts, Daddy here, and welcome back. For this occasion, we are bringing out the Messerschmitt 163 in stock format on Korea map. These are gonna actually be two gameplays, in which I wanted to show you what happens when you do your job and the enemy and the allied team actually follows you, and the other occasion is when the team does not follow you. I mean, it also depends on your team formation, how many 163s you have, how many L28s, and so on. But the basic rules are the same. If you're alone, you're not gonna have that much fun. Okay, some of the general rules I applied flying the 163. I do a shallow climb around 10 to 15 degrees, depending on the preference. For climbing, I use around 60 to 70% throttle because there's no need for more than that. I don't use the keyboard above 700 kilometers an hour in speed. I never pull down. I usually just roll upside down. And before engagement, I use the speeds around 700 as well, so that I can do a split S so that I can actually jump on someone at optimal speeds so that I can maneuver and so on. Head-ons are not recommended because the guns have a large spread, and also they have a low fire rate, which means they can actually fly between your bullets. And for the landing, turn off your engine just before you land, and don't touch the ground before you reduce speed to around 350 kilometers, maybe even less. You can use landing flaps, but they actually have a lot of uplift, so they can actually mess you up. And don't use landing gear because the skid actually makes you slide way too much. You never need to go above 50% throttle during combat, especially because you have limited fuel, so just always pay attention to the fuel, and the only reason you will use 100% is to use it as a gap closer for like a short burst for like a few kilometers. Okay, so your main role in Korea or in regarding any map is to intercept the fighters before they gain speed or catch them off guard while they're doing early dogfights. Even though this thing was made to shoot down bombers initially, I mean historically, it never does face bombers in this game. Okay, so we see our first target. I'm shutting down the throttle, watching my airspeed. It's around 700, so I need to be really careful with the dive. He's low on speed and he noticed me way too late, so I'm just waiting for him to do something predictable, like turn to the left, and there we go. Now kicking back the throttle and just gaining a little bit of altitude so I can maneuver. Roll over to see the Panther trying to do a head-on with me. We're not gonna do that. Just do a slight maneuver to the side and that's it. Now we're just picking off we're picking who are we gonna kill. Now I see the Panther is still interested in me, so I'm gonna play with him. As soon as he's trying to dive on me, I pull up and now roll over and dive on him. Unfortunately, he did not pull up as well. If he did, he would have died. Now I see the Saber is on me as well, so now even though they're practically surrounding me, I have no problem with dealing with them because they just cannot follow me in a turn. The Saber is pulling up. I'm gonna try to catch him, but I see the Panther is also low on speed, so I'm gonna try to get him now. Using landing flaps at below 400, just 50% throttle. I noticed the Saber a bit too late, so he scratched my wing. Doesn't matter. Fire a few shots to the F9F, but he flies between the shots because of the low speed, the low fire rate. Now I see the Saber is diving again, so I pull up and straight down on him. But finally he does a proper maneuver and actually breaks off. So even though he did break off, I can still catch up to him. Especially at these speeds between 300 and 700, you will have no problem catching the Saber. Okay, so the Panther is trying to head on again, but I didn't notice him on time. He damages my plane, but I'm still alive, so I'm gonna continue to fight. Roll over to him again. Now I see the Saber is completely out of speed and trying desperately to kill one of the MiGs. and this is the perfect opportunity for 163 to shoot down something. Now I'm gonna close the gap as much as possible. Around 300 should be more than enough. I missed a few times, so I got tunnel vision and I didn't see the tree. And even though I did pass through the tree, the wing snapped after the tree, so that was a bit weird, doesn't matter. And in the background you can see the last F9F trying to run away, which he will fail. And that's the end of the match. And as you saw, as long as Sabres have no control over their own maneuvers, they are in constant panic and bleed all their speed trying to dodge your bullets, so they practically cannot run away. Okay, let's switch to the next match. Now that all looked great and sounded great when your team works and actually you don't have to do all the work, but what happens when your team doesn't rush with you or dies in the first 5 minutes of the match by crashing or doing whatever they want? Well, then you're stuck in an awkward situation where you are actually waiting for them to be kind enough to attack you or even give a shit about you. Okay, we're 2 minutes into the match and I see the whole Sabre team below me on the right side, so I'm just trying to bait them into a dogfight. I already see 2 of them zooming up, so now I'm just slightly pulling up to completely bait them into a dogfight. He cannot shoot me from here, so I'm just slightly rolling over and over again to make him completely bleed speed in a vertical loop, and not loop roll. And they're still committed. Now I'm just rolling over to get on his tail, but before I do that, he finally decides to break off. Now here comes the other guy. He also tries to shoot me down. I'm also pulling up first to make him follow me, then pull all the way down. He also breaks off after this loop, which was bad for me because he didn't commit enough for me to get on his tail. And now I'm just gonna level off, cut the throttle to 50% and wait for someone to come to me again. And this is where the problem with the 163 kicks in, and where all the trash talking and rants and forums and battle rating changes comes to, because if they don't come to you, you can't. If they don't want to come to you, you can't do shit. You're slower than them, and you will never catch them if they're careful enough. And with the recent changes in flight model, you cannot. I mean, not recent, like last year, when they made 163 wings rip at 700 kilometers, most of the players gave up on it because it was not easy mode anymore, where you could just like turn at at full speed and get on his tail and dodge in negative G and all kinds of ridiculous maneuvers. And since that is gone, people are never gonna stop complaining. But then I saw like a small post on the live War Thunder, which got me so pissed off, because I saw like a guy complaining about the battle rating, which okay, and then a moderator from the forum came and print screened. No, he first said that no, it's great, and then he said no, it's not. And then he print screened his own stats of the 163, which were like 2,000 kills and 100 deaths, and everyone's like, wow. I was like, fuck you, dude. Those stats were from the age when the 163 had like a 7.0 battle rating and the unbreakable wing fight model, which when this thing even fought props, like no. Okay, if you're not gonna help players and give them constructive advice, just don't even try posting your stats. Okay, so back to the gameplay. I caught a Mark IV short wing off guard in a stall, so now I'm completely stuck on his tail, and I'm just waiting for him to completely bleed out energy, because he will not make me overshoot. And it's quite interesting that because people think that they can overshoot 163s, and they can't, because they're most of the time they don't even use throttle. So I'm just snap rolling over and over again, forcing him to barrel roll and get into my guns multiple times until he finally dies. That's like the second time it only hits. I don't know what does hit even mean on the 163, because those shells are explosive. They don't hit. They either explode or they don't explode. I don't know. So the last second I see the Saber trying to kill me, but I dodge him. And at this moment I'm pretty much there's only like one Meg left on my team flying around, and now I'm just playing with them and not letting them kill me. Like, I have a philosophy of, if I know I'm gonna die, I'm gonna make them work for it hard. At this moment the only thing I can do is save my fuel, stay low, and just wait for an opportunity to strike someone who gets greedy on me or pulls up in a weird way. Like this guy in front of me. So I'm gonna try to shoot him, but not enough lead. So I'm gonna get on his tail. Unfortunately, he already gains enough distance for me not to be able to shoot properly. So I'm not even gonna try. Okay, so I'm now diving on a Saber, but I see the meteor is already back on my tail. So I'm just gonna wait for him to commit to me and start looping over. Now I can barely see him because of the G-force, but just enough for me to dodge. Now I see others are joining in as well, so I see a Saber slowly flying above me, but he flies between my shots thanks to the fire rate. Now I dive again. I'm just trying to focus on one guy at a time, and I break my flaps because I didn't pay attention to the speed. Now Meteor is really low on speed, and now I'm gonna cut the throttle and make him completely overshoot, because I'm out of fuel anyway. Just looping and looping over and over again. If you have motion sickness problems, I don't recommend you flying this plane. Okay, the other Saber scratched me, but doesn't matter, I'm still alive. And there we go. Few shots, only hits. I'm gonna try again. And now I'm out of fuel. I don't even have flaps, so I cannot pull up at all. Few sparks on him. The F-25 missed me. And there we go. That's the last kill. And that's the end of me as well, because I have no speed, nor throttle, nor nothing. And now let's look at the amazing stats. Yeah, you saw that. The only guy who actually did something was the IL-28, who shot down. I mean, not shot down, but was actually doing his job and destroyed a few ground targets. And then there's me, and then there's the rest of the team done nothing. But yeah, that's the magic of the German high-tier German jets, especially the MiGs, because they just lack the experience and the patience of flying a MiG-15, so they're pretty much useless most of the time. But don't get me wrong, I love this plane and I really do enjoy flying it, especially in like that close combat and dogfighting. Like, for those 6 minutes you get more action than, I mean, those 6 minutes of fuel get more action than in most other planes. So don't let that discourage you from trying out this plane. Anyway, thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.